everyone. How are you doing? Hello. And Annie is here. She's muted for a second. She'll be back in just a moment. I know this is kind of weird. I'm not even close to where I'm usually at. I am in my chair in the living room, crocheting, so we can just chat and crochet. So I don't know how many people will be showing up right now. It doesn't look like there's anybody in the chat. I know Diane was here. She said she will be back. I know this is a weird time to have my live because Ivy and Jen is live at the same time. But I've been going live on Tuesday nights for like 5 years. So, yeah, it just is what it is, right?
It is, right.
So, and they know I'm live and I know they're live and it's okay. I was over there. In fact, I'm in their chat. I muted it so I can't hear them in my ear.
I
But
was very sad today to hear that Dolly Parton had passed away today.
oh, I know. I knew she was going to.
And
She,
she was sounding bad the last couple of interviews I've seen with her.
right. Yep. I saw something she was on, talking about something she was going to be doing soon. And I'm like, she ain't going to be doing that. But I mean, she's sad. Her husband died a couple of years ago.
And yeah, she lost Kenny Rogers, who was her best friend.
And her cousin died recently as well.
Did you see the really nice post her nephew put on Facebook?
I saw it,
Her
but I
nephew
didn't
put
watch it
on
yet.
YouTube.
I did see it was there. I just didn't watch it yet.
He put one on YouTube. I watched the one on Facebook, but then he put one on YouTube talking about what she had planned for the future and for her nieces and nephews. And
Mm-hmm.
me and Bill's what she didn't have any kids, did she?
No,
I didn't think so. No, Bill, she didn't have any. Uh,
she was unable to carry kids, and
that's what I was thinking.
she was too bit. She was, and then she was so busy that she didn't want to try and adopt when she was so busy, and then she just got older and just decided not to. But
Well,
she's got
I
tons
mean,
of nieces and nephews.
on the road all the time, it would be very hard to raise a child like that,
Right,
and not very good for the kid to be drugged from one place to another.
right.
That one Andrew Lincoln that played on Walking Dead,
Uh
that
huh.
was one of the reasons that he wanted to be killed off the show because he was from Australia. He would fly his kids in several times a year, but he said he really wanted to spend, he didn't want to miss all this time with his kids.
Right. Brooks. What's his first name?
Mel Brooks,
No, the country singer,
Garth,
Garth Brooks. When him and his wife, his first wife, got a divorce, he was living uh, quite a ways. He moved and was living quite a ways away from where his ex and his three daughters was living. He made the decision to buy a house on the same street, and he retired from singing and spent um, all those years, 5 or 6 years, helping raise his daughters. So, because he didn't want to miss out.
yeah.
And then once they were older and they were getting married and stuff, he came back to singing. But that's the reason why he retired when he was quite young, and then he came back.
You'll have to open the curtain and the blind there. We're getting moths.
Hello, anybody who is in the chat. I see we got a couple of people lurking. I am just crocheting. Hi, Diane. I'm
Hi,
just
Diane.
crocheting this dress. Of course, it will fit around me. I measured. This is the skirt part, and Diane gave sent me some images and gave me an idea of how I'm going to finish this dress.
Cool.
So as soon as the skirt part's done, I'm going to be going to straight double crochets. Excuse me. Thank you, Diane. and then I'll do up to the neck, and then I'll go down the arms part of the way, double crochet, and then I'll do uh, at least two, if not three, of the diamonds on it. Because I want a sleeve, not a long sleeve, maybe a 3/4.
Yeah, I'm a 3/4 sleeve gal. I
I
don't
like
like long
3/4.
sleeves, but I don't like them really super. Well, I like my tank tops though.
Yeah, well, I love tank tops, but I can't wear them right now. I'm too cold all the time. I'm
I
in a t-shirt tonight, but I don't wear a lot of t-shirts right now either.
I am actually wearing a t-shirt. Wearing long pants. It was actually cool this morning. It was in the 50s. I loved it, but I
Ah,
put some long pants to keep my knees warm.
yeah, Diane, that pineapple pattern is really pretty. Oh,
Amelia
my
was
nose.
live today.
Huh?
She had a little mini live today, I guess,
Who
when she
did?
was out for her walk. Jill.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. I didn't see it, but I saw she'd done it.
I think Greg's out there, honey. Oh, somebody's out there.
Once I get this blue done, I need to measure and see how much higher I need to go before I start the double crochet. This stretches really well, so yeah,
Diane said she's been wanting to make something in pineapple for a while.
cool. You have to share the
Okay,
image.
you can't do. Deep breath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? That's the way you do it, right?
Right. I didn't even think I was going to see Ron tonight because I was gone. But when I got home, I realized he hadn't taken his pills yet. So I took him into him, and he wasn't asleep yet. And so he took his pills. But oh,
You could make like a table runner, Diane.
yeah, table runner would be
That's
beautiful.
that's a great way to practice new stitches. I've done that many times. Okay. Expecting nobody else around the house.
Did you see? I know Diane. I'm pretty sure she saw my table runner, my quilted table runner. It's a pot holder slash table runner that I did for Diane D's challenge this month. Did you see it, Annie?
I I don't think I did.
Because I didn't put it up on Facebook. I was going to and I forgot.
I have one like that Sis made me, and then I had the one that I crocheted for my brother because when he passed away, Renee, because he wanted a table runner and two placemats to match in green and white. So I made those. She said you should take those back since you made them for me.
Oh, wow, Diane. Okay, so let me show you this.
Ooh, Diane, yeah, that's my sister's jam. I don't go down that small.
Okay, where is it? I'm looking in the wrong gallery. No, that's the right one. Did I get rid of it? No. It's in my. Okay, I know where to find it. In my Google Photos. There it is. Okay.
Oh, that's pretty. I
Thank you.
like.
It's all quilted, and then here's another shot of it.
That's kind of like the one Sis makes. And she
Yeah,
puts
and then
the
this is
center.
the back of it, so it's double sided. So I'm going to use it for
That way she does
Thanksgiving.
it. She, that way, one side gets dirty, you can flip it over.
Well, I'm going to do this for Thanksgiving, and then Oops.
flip it over for Christmas.
And yeah, and then this is for Christmas because it's all Christmas fabric. And I did that in I I spent about 2 hours downstairs cutting all the pieces, and then the next day I sewed it all together. So
Yeah, she is going to have, I think she said 12 totes of just material. That's not counting her yarn or her art supplies. She said she's going to have like a whole tote of art supplies, probably 4 totes of yarn. I said, well, we can build that yarn up right quick.
right, yes, Diane, I work fast. I
Her and my sister, if you got the two of them together, there'd be smoke rolling out of their sewing machines.
right,
Both of them are fast like that. They crochet fast and they sew fast.
yeah. You remember Joe who passed away, Diane, last year? She's like, "Do you really crochet that fast?" And so I put on my camera and I was just crocheting, and she's like, "Holy moly, you do!" I said, "Okay."
It's hard to believe she's been gone a year already.
I know, a year and almost a year. It's a year and 1 month this
Yeah,
weekend.
it just seems like it should be longer.
Yeah, but Diane, me and Annie and Joe used to spend about an hour and a half on the phone every day, or at least 5 days a week. Hi, Vicky. And plus, they were always on all my lives, both of them. And we were on uh, John,
Haging
Jessica.
Out. Yeah, John and Jessica's channel.
They haven't had a live in over a month.
Yeah, I noticed.
I think John is just busy doing what John is doing.
And that's fine.
Yeah, of course it is. And I don't know if you know Billy Burt. You remember Billy Burt?
Yeah.
He he's really sick.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Hey.
He can't even get out in his wood room and scroll or anything. And yeah, we were both me, Annie, and Joe was all me, Annie, and Joe were always in their lives.
We were their
I've
company.
known John longer than Jessica, longer than Annie and Joe. I've known John years. Um, in fact, I met him right after I started on YouTube, and I've been on YouTube now for, well, making videos uh, over 6 years.
Yep. Kind of like that, Diane. We were the Three Musketeers.
Yet people called us that. So yeah, if one of us was there, you knew the other two was there too.
Or not far behind.
Or yeah, or not far behind.
Hang on, gotta let this dog out. I swear. I swear. Come on. Come on. You know the rules. Here,
Thank you, Diane, for
keep it out there.
letting me know about that bingo. You'll have to remind me. Do you have? Hey, Vicky, how are you? Yes, I'm relaxing and crocheting, but I'm crocheting fast.
I'll have to remind you of what?
Diane has to remind me of that bingo on whose channel was it again?
Oh, Elaine's. I missed.
No, no, I was on Elaine's yesterday. I'm
Sorry.
glad you're doing good. No, it was one I saw your numbers in there, so you've played it. Who was it?
You saw my numbers?
Yeah, it said Crafty Annie. Um, she has blue hair. What is her name?
She's got the what hair?
Blue hair. Here, I'll look. Cause, but
Carrie the Yarny Elephant.
hmm?
Carrie the Yarny Elephant. Is that who you're talking
Yes,
about?
yes, 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 yes. That's who it is. Yeah,
Gosh, I
me
haven't
too.
been in there for ages. I haven't caught one of her bingos. I'm just during the day. I am just not online like I was. I got so much going on. It's really hard. I mean, might be able to pop in here and there, but I don't really get to sit much during the day anymore.
Yeah. Now I'm always on my computer at lunchtime, and that's when I catch like Rebecca and I catch up on my videos that I of people I've been watching for years, like the Lion Whisperer. I've been watching him for oh almost 12 years. Um, I've been watching Sandy Brock. She's a sheep herder. I've been watching her for 7, 8 years, and I watch Trent and Allie, and I've been watching them for 7 or so years. And so and they're not, none of them are like crafters or crocheters or anything like that, but their channels I've watched for years, and I never miss their videos ever. So,
A lot of the time, I will put one of the trials that I'm listening to right now. It's at Lindsay Clancy.
eh,
I have been following that since it happened though, because I wanted to. Um, I have seen people go through postpartum depression, psychosis,
mhm,
and there at the beginning, I was like, I really felt for her, and then I was just like, okay. She said Diana D's daughter messaged her. She said to let her know she just got Diana home and she cannot use her arm for 2 days. Said she made it through the procedure, and the next step is bypass.
right. Okay. Thank you, Diane.
But I feel for her, and I really honestly think that this was, I mean, the medicines they had that woman on, Connie. I mean, everything under the sun, and nothing was, and she kept asking for help. And she gets out of the psych hospital, and her husband goes off and leaves her alone with those kids after she told him she was having thoughts about hurting them. And I'm sorry, him and all those doctors that failed her should be. I'm not saying she should be held responsible because she should for what
Yes.
she. But I also think that her husband and her doctors should be held responsible in some way as well. Especially her husband. He knew what was going on, and he left her alone with him anyway to go to a trampoline park.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there going like, there is no way if I ever told Bill, hey, I'm having, or when the kids were little, I'm having thoughts of hurting, he would have never left me alone with kids.
Right. Okay, Diane.
So I truly believe that he should be in some way held responsible. I'm not saying it was his fault, but in a way it is. And I'm sure he'll blame himself for the rest of his life, but I'm not sure if that's enough.
Yeah.
You know,
Thing is,
he,
he moved on. He got married.
yeah, I know, really quick.
Yeah, and remarried someone else.
And I mean, they said through the trial that part of her problem was she knew he was having an affair.
Yeah.
And that can push some women over the edge. Me, I'd be packing her stuff and saying, bye. You don't want to be with me? Go be with them, but you're not dragging me down with you.
Yeah.
But that one psychiatrist, he got slapped down by the judge because he was like, uh, she told me that she was going to kill herself to be with her kids. And he said, well, you was raised Catholic. Isn't that a mortal sin? That is not his job.
I know. I heard about that.
Never been uttered. Hey, Liz, welcome in.
Hello, Liz. Welcome in. How are
So,
you?
yeah, he deserved that slap down because he should have never said that.
Right.
That was not his expertise. I could see if a priest had said it or something, or a nun, because she was Catholic. But other than that, that should have never been. It shouldn't have been brought up to the jury anyway.
Right.
So the judge had to bring the jury back in and tell them, you have to forget you heard that. Do you know how hard that would be? This is one of the reasons I don't want to be on a jury anytime, because for me to hear something and then say, "Oh, you didn't hear that," yeah, that's not the way my brain works. It's going to be stuck in my head.
I know. My husband was a cop for many years, as you know, and he said it's a stupid thing to do. Um, they should
They
never.
hear it. They hear it. You can't unhear something.
Yeah,
I wouldn't tell my
he's
kids
never
that.
worked
I
on a
should
jury. He's
probably.
never been on a jury because he was a cop, and they don't want me on the any jury. They say you can go. They never keep me because I'm sorry, I can't unhear what is said to me at home. Um, Welcome back, Diane. Especially when my husband was talking to me about inmates that was in the jail from where I would be doing it from. I might come cross paths with some of the people he
Yeah.
told me stuff.
If you have a spouse that's in um, any aspect of law, they won't let you be a juror.
Yeah. Well, they had me come, and then they just one lawyer said to me, he goes, "Do you honestly going to sit and tell me that you can't be impartial and just listen to the facts?" And I looked at him and I said, "Can you do that?" And the judge looked at me. He didn't stop me, and the lawyer just said, "We're going to release her." He didn't even want. I'm like, yeah, because
Welcome back, Diane. Yeah,
you,
it was.
you
I
can't
have been
do
called to
stuff.
jury duty twice. The first time I couldn't do it because the kids were Anthony was small, Bill was working and I was like, I just can't do it. I said we only have the one vehicle. The second time they're like, oh no, we won't use that excuse again. You have to show up.
Right.
And so I showed up for 2 days, and I don't know what they thought I was making at work, but I know I was making more than $30 for 2 8-hour days,
Yeah.
uh, which is, I mean, that's what's a little under $15 an hour. But they're just like, oh, well, you wouldn't be a good fit for this jury because I knew the guy. They're like, do you know this man? And I was like, yes. When did you know him? I was like, in high school. They're like, do you have a good opinion of him? I was like, not really.
Well, the last time that I went, I was babysitting kids, and I had to take the day off to go. And be, because my husband worked at the jail where that inmate was at, and then they said, "Well, yes, but can you look past that?" I said, "I could, except for I am a babysitter, and all these families are depending on me to watch their children." And they're like, "You can be, you're released. Just go." I said, "Okay, thanks." Because I mean, that's hard. It wouldn't be just hard on me; it would be hard on all those families. Um,
Exactly. And as a caregiver, because at that time I was working in the field, I
hmm
wasn't Anthony's caregiver. If they can't get coverage, that person has nobody to take care of them that day.
right. Well, and at the time, I think I was watching 6 kids. I had a license, so I could have up to well, 6 or 8 kids with me, plus my own kids, because I was licensed, and I couldn't tell all those families, well, you guys got to find a new babysitter, and I don't know for how
By the
long.
way, I need a babysitter as well. Can you babysit mine?
Yeah, so
That
and
other one that I'm following, the 16 kids that was kept in that 12 by 12 room.
mm-hmm.
Uh, Do you know what led them to finding those kids? Nobody knew those kids existed.
Right.
And she had three sets of twins. One set was conjoined that passed away at birth.
Wow.
She started having kids when she was 16. Her husband started grooming her when she was 11 and then married her when she turned 16. They got married. But
Did she ever leave
both
the house?
her and him
Did she,
were under investigation for abusing in a marital way another minor that was not part of the family.
did they know about? They didn't know about all those kids, right?
No, no, they didn't know about the kids till they went to arrest him for the other thing. And then they heard scrabbling behind the wood, and the one cop just stood there for a minute and he started punching with his hand at the wood until he knocked the wood loose, and then they seen all the kids in the room.
Holy moly!
None of the neighbors knew the kids existed. They said they didn't even know they had kids. They'd never seen a kid.
Wow.
So they lived basically in a 12 by 12 room for 5 years. They were half starved. One of them, or two of them, had to be life flighted. They said, had they not found them that day, they would have passed away.
Wow.
Yeah, Vicky, see, my husband's mother used to do us that way. She would take care of his brother's kids and his sister's kids on their anniversary. And she's like, you all don't need to go out.
That's horrible.
So we stopped going out for our anniversary because I won't trust my son with anybody except a family member. And sis did do it several times. And when Andrew got older, we were okay, with leaving Anthony with him when he was like in his late teens and everything. But I had to really ask him, are you sure you want this responsibility before we dump this on you, even for a couple of hours? Because I don't believe in making my kids become parents, because that's what happened to me. I was made a parent at 7, and I did not want to do that to my kids.
Right.
Even though his mama tried to convince my older son when he was 5 that it was his responsibility to take care of his brother for the rest of his life. And I said, no, it's not. I said, it's his responsibility to be a brother. That's it. Sum total.
Right.
All of us kids were parents to the kids below us, basically. And my sister was mother to all. And my oldest brother was dad to all, because they signed our report cards, wrote our sick notes, and everything.
Mm-hmm. Um, I didn't have very many people babysit for me because, okay, so um, there was a couple of years I had a babysitter. Um, the people that was babysitting for me, I babysat for them, so we were swapping back and forth. And that was only when Ron was on day shift, because I would get off work before Ron had to leave for work, so I would get home. Or he actually would put the kids in the car, drive. No, yes, he would drive, pick me up. I would take him and drop him off, and then I would go home with the kids. And we did that for a few years. And then when I had 2 kids, before I got pregnant with my third, I stopped working and started babysitting in my house. And I babysat in my house for about 12 years. And by then, all my kids were above, all in, well, the youngest one was in elementary school, and I became uh, a substitute teacher. So after that, so I was working in the schools. So,
Yeah,
and
Diane, see, that's me and my husband started doing that because his mom refused to watch the kids when they were infants. She would keep them while I was working. The minute they hit toddler stage, she said she wasn't watching them anymore. Fair enough, she's an older lady. And, it's a lot of energy to run after a toddler.
Right.
So we went on, he worked nights, I worked days. But the only problem with that is every time I was leaving for work, he was taking the kids to his mom's, dumping them off on his mom's, and going home until I found out about it. And then we had a huge fight because I told him I did not have kids for somebody else to raise them. He was their father, not a babysitter, and it was his responsibility to take care of them as much as mine.
Yeah, Ron was really good at watching the kids.
After I put my foot down, Bill was.
Right.
But a lot of that, he's like, well, mom kept calling and calling and calling, telling me, bring him over here, bring him over here. And then I bring him over, and then she would tell me that she didn't want him over there. And I was like, she's trying to get us in an argument and split us up. I knew what she was after.
Mm-hmm.
So, after I told him, I was like, these are our children. We have them together. It was our decision. Therefore, it is our job to take care of our kids. And then after Anthony was diagnosed, I just didn't trust anybody with him. I didn't trust anybody to understand what to do when to do it, and when to just step back and not do anything. Because there are times when you just have to step back, let him explode, let it fly and fall where it goes, and then pick up the pieces afterwards. Because sometimes he needs that.
Oh wow, Vicky, that's awesome. My husband was always really good at watching the kids, cleaning the house, cooking, and he still. You can ask Annie; she's witnessed on camera him doing things for me, and I don't have to ask. He just does them. That's just the way
Well,
he is.
I mean, when I was around, Bill changed diapers. He'd give them a bath. He would feed them. I mean, I nursed both of them, and he would literally wake up with them in the middle of the night, put them to my breast, change their diaper, change their clothes, flip, do what he needed to in the bed, and then put them back to sleep, and never wake me up.
Right? Hey, Janice.
I sleep. That is why one of the reasons I was so afraid of having kids is because I am such a deep sleeper.
I
But
am a really deep sleeper, but I never had an issue with the babies. I could always hear them. Always got
to
up with
this
them.
day, if it's just me and Anthony, every little noise will wake me up. But if Bill is home, I hear nothing.
Right, and he gets up with him. Or
No, no, it's just nothing wakes me up. He,
no, no. I mean, if
he
Anthony makes noises, then Bill.
yeah, Bill. Well, Bill gets up and checks on him 6 times a night anyway. Yeah,
Right.
he's always been like that. When he was working nights and I was supposed to be sleeping so I could work the next morning, he would call 4 or 5 times. Have you checked on the kids? And I'm like, they're just in the next room. They're asleep. They're fine.
My mom never watched my kids, and neither did
My, my
my
parents,
in-laws. My in-laws never watched my kids. My mother never
I
watched.
never allowed my parents to watch my kids. My sister has watched Anthony. Well, she was his caregiver for a while. From time for about 2 years, she was his caregiver because
Right.
we tried a stranger. It didn't work out well because Anthony kept throwing him out of his bedroom, and they're like, "We have to go in there and clean." And I was like, "I cannot force him to allow you to go somewhere he doesn't want you to be." I said, "I won't do that to him.
Yeah.
His room, that's his things, that's his response. If that's what he wants." So when I went to the company, and she's like, "Would you have a family member that might do it?" So I asked Renee because we was both working for the same company, and she goes, "Yeah." She said, "I'd love to do that." And then when he turned 18, I became his caregiver.
Right. Yeah, Diane, that was just horrible that you had to protect your kids from their own father. And yeah, Vicky, I had the same thing. I started babysitting to get paid. Well,
Yep.
I did it for a few years when I was in junior high, but once I got to high school, I was too busy. But before I had a booming business, I had a bunch of
Yeah,
kids.
I was babysitting by the time I was 9. I was babysitting infants.
Yeah,
And as I got older, I worked as a nanny for several years. And then I just had a babysitting business where I would go from house to house throughout the day, babysitting for people. I didn't have a car. The only thing I had to do was pay my rent and my utilities and buy groceries. I was living with my little brother, and then when I realized that while I was working, him and his friends were at the apartment partying and getting high and eating all the groceries, I stopped buying groceries. I would just go to a fast food, get me something to eat. He's like, "Oh, you didn't go to the store?" And I was like, "No." I said, "You want food? Get a job, go out and get buy some." I said, "I'm not gonna keep you."
Yeah. Janice, did you get my email with your tracking number?
And hi, Janice. Sorry I didn't see you come in.
Yes. Hello, Janice.
I have always loved kids. I love being around kids. I think kids are hilarious,
Me too.
and you can learn so much about life just watching them. It's like because they see the world differently than we do,
Right.
and I find it very fascinating to be around kids. And I mean, now I did have one good friend, and we met when Andrew was in Tiger Cubs, which was before Cub Scouts,
Right.
and her oldest son and Andrew's birthdays was 2 days apart, and her youngest son and Anthony's birthdays were 2 days apart.
Yeah. Janice,
And
that's okay. I understand.
I we would take turns babysitting for each other. I babysit for her more than she because I'm just weird about Anthony. He can't talk. He can't tell me if somebody's hurt me or if they've done something to him that shouldn't be done. And I'm just over a little overbearing when it comes to people being around me.
Right.
Even, he's in his 30s now, and I'm still the same way. I still watch people around me.
Yeah. Vicky, okay, so my youngest brother is n- not he's under 9 years younger than me. So I was 8 when he was born. And when he was 6 weeks old, my mom was cooking dinner and he was in his crib in the bedroom and he had woke up. But my mom couldn't leave the stove and go take care of him. And I said, "Mom, I'll go take care of him." And she's like, "Connie, I'm going to tell you right now, you can go in there, but I do not want you picking him up. You can sit there, you can talk to him, you can, whatever, but do not pick that brand new baby up." And she made me promise. I said, "Okay, okay, okay."
And you,
Well, the next thing she knew, okay, Robbie quit crying almost instantly as soon as I walked in there. But she couldn't leave the stove to come and check and find out what was going on. And about, no, 5 or 6 minutes later, I come walking out with Robbie in my arms with a dry diaper and okay, Janice, with a dry diaper, and this is a cloth diaper with pins, and I changed his diaper, did not poke him, and my mom looked at him and she goes, looked at me and she goes, "Oh crap, you're never gonna stop now." I said, "Nope." I said, "No, he's mine." And unfortunately, I he always was with me all the time, everywhere I went until he started embarrassing me as a teenager in the mall. And I told
when
my
you told me to get lost.
And then I told my mom, he's not going with me anymore. And he's like, she goes, "But he loves to go with you." I said, "But I don't love him going with me, so he's not going with me anymore." So,
Now,
yeah.
my oldest niece, when she was about 2, they came to visit my brother and his wife at that time, and they had her and Joycey, which was a couple of years younger. And I was watching TV and reading a book in the living room, and Melody come walking down the stairs with a diaper, and I thought she was going to give it to me to change her. She sat down on the steps, took her dirty diaper off, put the clean diaper one step behind her, lifted herself up, sat on the clean diaper, taped it around her, wadded up the dirty diaper, and threw it away. And I was just like, "Where did you learn to do that?" And she goes, "Mommy doesn't change my diaper anymore." And I was like, "Well, then you need to be potty trained." And she says,
Exactly.
okay. She said, Mommy won't let me use potty. And I said, well, when you're here, you're going to be using a potty. So yeah, I potty trained her in like 2 days. I was 9, 8 or 9 when about then.
Yeah, Diane, I miss my kids too.
Mm-hmm. Everybody used to do that. Now, when they hit their teenage years, I'll be honest, and I could not wait for school to start. But when they was little, it bummed me out. I would have them all summer, and then I'd have to not have them. Hey, Robin.
Hey, Robin, welcome in. Yeah. Now, okay, so my sister was 11 months and 2 weeks younger than me, and when she was about, oh yes, yes, I was wondering about that. Good, awesome. I'm glad he loves it. Okay, so when I was about 2 and my sister was a year old, my mom was on the phone with somebody talking, probably her mom, because she used to gab on for her sister. And Patty was taking a nap, and Patty got up, and she was still in a crib, and so I went in there and I lowered the crib side down. Back when you could do that, you can't do that now. But I lowered it down, and I grabbed her hand, and I grabbed a cloth diaper because that's what she was wearing. And my mom was sitting there watching, and she's like, well, "What is Connie doing? She's not going to change that baby's diaper, is she? Or she's not going to try." I was 2, so I waddled her in there because she was only a year old, and I had her lay down underneath the table. Don't ask me why. And um, I later had her lay down. I sat with my legs, open, so she was in between my legs, and my mom's sitting there watching while she's talking to her mom. And my my mom watched me. I undid one pin, and then I reached as far as I could reach and put the pin away so my sister couldn't reach it. And then I did the other side, and I reached, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, she's going to try and pin that new diaper on her. She's going to poke her." Well, she sat and watched because she was interested to see what I was going to do. And I got the diaper out, and I put the new one under there, and I closed it, hold it, and I grabbed the pin, and I was trying. I couldn't get it. I didn't have the strength in my hands to get it. So I closed into the pin, got the other one, closed the pin, took the diaper back out, and I said something to, to Patty in baby gibberish because my mom couldn't understand our language. She just called it baby gibberish. We had our own language. And so Patty got up, and I grabbed her hand, and we walked into the bedroom. And about 5 minutes later, I come walking out with Patty in a pair of my underwear. Of course, she was too young to be diaper to be potty trained, but I'm like,
This is going to sound like a woe is me, and I do not mean it that way at all. But I will be taking care of a kid for the rest of my life, so I'll never miss those days.
yeah,
I don't regret it in any way. I love every day. I have days I'm gonna pull my hair out, days I'm gonna cry, and days I laugh my ass off.
yeah, that's
Like
awesome, Janice.
you know, but man, I could not imagine having 11 kids.
My mother-in-law had 13. My brother-in-law's mother had 15. My one of my really good friends when I was growing up, in fact, she's still my friend. I talk to her on Facebook all the time. Her mom had 21 children, no, no twins, and
I don't
I,
get people. And my mom was like this because I think my mom resented having so many kids because she had 7.
yeah, my mom had 6, but
And I think they resent it after. I'm not saying you do, Janice. Don't.
my mother-in-law didn't, and neither did the other lady. I also a kid my kids went to school with his family. I got to know his mom when I met her. Um, yeah, Diane, 21. When I met her, she had 12 kids. I thought, oh, she's got to be done by now, right? She had 23 kids, all single births.
I don't.
23 kids. I'm like, and she didn't have the finances for it. That's what made me
I
mad.
loved being a mom. I mean, I loved being pregnant. I loved when I loved taking care of my kids. Had absolutely no problem. But I only wanted two because I knew what it was like to grow up in a huge family and not have parents available
Yeah,
because
and
they were always busy taking care of taking care of the older ones' problems, fixing
yeah.
their boo.
Now I always wanted 7 kids, and I had 7 pregnancies, but I only ended up raising 4. But I have 9 grandchildren and 1 great grandchild.
I just
And when I was young, when
my
people,
parents and his parents kept pushing and pushing for us to have more kids. That's why after Anthony was born, I immediately asked him, they will not let you have a baby and have your tubes tied at the same time. Oh, you need to think about it for a while. I said,
oh,
no,
they
I
do
don't.
now. They do if you're over 25.
I was over 25. I was in my 30s when I had Anthony. I think I was like
Well, I don't
30.
know why they wouldn't do that because they did it for me.
And well, here you had a waiting period. And I was
Mm,
like, I'm not going to change my mind. I don't want any more kids. But yeah, my mom was like, "Oh, you need to have 5 or 6." I said, "No, I don't. No, I don't. Two kids, two parents, more than enough." That's the way I felt. Plus, we didn't have the money for more than two kids.
right.
I mean, if Anthony had turned out typical, my oldest son, we didn't pay anything for him. He got scholarships and grants. The boy paid for his own age. I think the most we paid while he was in college, and he did go on to get his master's, is $50. The whole time he was in college, we paid $50,
Yeah,
and that was for a book he needed. And he didn't have the money. He worked,
right,
and I couldn't have afforded to put that many kids through college.
right. Yes, Janice, when you have a bunch of kids, you have to be resourceful.
Well, I mean, my grandparents had big families and came from big families
Well, from
because
where,
normal back then they
just
used.
knowing where I am from,
Mm-hmm.
there's lots of people with big,
Yeah.
huge families.
Now around here, having more than seven was unusual. We had families that had 19, 20 kids. Uh, my ex brother in law, his mother had 19 kids. But it wasn't usual. And that was back in the 70s.
Well, see, well, the ones I'm talking about, except for the one that was my friend, these other people, I knew a lady lived around the corner. She had 10 kids. The one had 24. Um, all these were being, they were, these families were raising their kids when I was raising my kids, and um, it was just, it's a normal thing in that religion, which I'm not a part of. So that's just what a lot of them
I
do.
mean, here it's because they wanted extra kids, extra hands on the farm because they were all farmers. And
Yeah.
I could see, but they sustained themselves. They didn't have to. They were working the farm. They didn't work outside of that. They raised it and did everything they needed or traded for what they needed.
Right now, see,
Nowadays,
my in-laws, they never got assistance for help with their kids. She never worked. She never drove. But Ron's dad made enough money to raise 14 kids, and the only reason she stopped having kids is she had her last child at 43, and when she stopped bleeding, she never had another period. She went through menopause. That just like right. I mean, she didn't have no hot flashes. She didn't have the typical nothing. She just stopped, and she like, well, God knew.
I think the funniest thing that I ever There's two times in my life when I thought my dad was hilarious. Once, we got up and we couldn't get out the front door
Uh-huh.
because him and mom had went out for their anniversary the night before, drinking with some friends. We went out the back door, walked around the house, and he had drove down the steps, across the sidewalk, and parked the car. And I'm talking about a big old Pontiac. It was the 70s. All the cars were big. Parked on the porch
On
and
purpose?
on purpose. And well, I mean, he was drunk, but but my dad was one of those. My mom wasn't being drunk. My dad was hilarious when he was drunk. He was so cute, and it was just like we went, woke him up, and was like, "Why is the car on the porch?" And Dad's like, "The car's not on the porch." And we're like, "Yeah, the car's on the porch." So he went outside and he tried to open the door. He looked through the window and he goes, "Huh? I thought I dreamed that." He was racing a cop. He rolled his window down and looked at the cop and he says, "If you can catch me, you can give me a ticket."
Wow.
And then he's like, "Don't do as I do, do as I say. Don't drink and drive." I'm like, yeah, you really, you're forcing that there home.
Yeah. Vicky, yep, I understand that. You know, that religion that I'm speaking of, I used to be a part of it, and but I'm not anymore. But they have huge families.
Well, Renee's husband now, I didn't realize that he had 14 brothers and sisters. When we knew him, there was four kids at home,
Right.
and I never knew that he came from a huge family like that. Now, his mom adored his mom. I hated his dad with a passion. His dad was a he he give you the heebie-jeebies when he looked at you. He was creepy.
Right.
Never did like him, and had to spend time around because our family spent time together all the. We was always around each other. So when he come over, I'd hide under the porch, and I'd stay under the porch until they left.
Right.
And I was like real little. I was only like 7, 6, 7 then.
Yes, Diane, they do.
Yeah, but there's procreate and then there's overpopulation.
Well, they took it literally that it was their responsibility to uh, populate the world. The world. Yeah, I can't believe I was ever a part of it, but I was raised into it.
Not your fault. You have no responsibility or power over how you're raised.
Right, but as soon, I mean, even me and Ron were raising our kids in it as well. And then God said, "Nope, you ain't gonna stay in that no more." And that's when we left that religion and was saved. And all of our children followed us out, which is not something that usually happens, but it did.
You should have seen Anthony with that four-wheeler. He went out
Yes,
there
Diane.
and
Exactly.
he was running his fingers over the body of it on the paint. And it's like green, like camouflage green, but not camouflage, but camouflage green, that
Hmm.
army type color. And he was petting it, and he kicked the tires, and he pulled on it, to see how it moved. And then he went to throw his leg up over it, didn't realize it was so much bigger than the other one.
Right.
Bill
Um,
said it two tries to get up on the seat.
Diane, I was not Amish, but yes, you do get shunned. Not the way the Amish do it, but they do shun you. In fact, it's very well known that if a husband decides to leave that church, normally the wife will divorce him and take the children from him. And Ron, when he decided he was going to leave the church, he hadn't told me. At the time, we were the closest we've ever been to getting a divorce. We didn't talk anymore at all. And he knew that there was a very good chance that I was going to divorce him and take the kids away from him and make his life a living hell. But he was at peace with it. He knew that that wasn't going to scare him. He was going to leave that church no matter what. And the thing is he didn't realize that God was working in my heart, and I had already made that decision as well. So when he told me, I said, "Sure, let's do it," and he was floored because he did. We weren't speaking, so neither one of us knew what the other one was doing. So yeah, and then immediately our oldest daughter and our youngest daughter left the church immediately. Our son left within 6 weeks, and our Hudson's mom was the one I did not think um, was going to leave the church. She fought the hardest, but she did anyway. Exactly, Diane. God knew what he was doing, which he always does. And nobody witnessed to either one of us. Um, we just, we knew. I mean, God, it was all God. It's his story anyway, right? Yeah, I am. Me too, Diane. I've been a Christian for how many years has it been? Well, I was 42 and I'm 64, so 22 years.
Yeah, I told sis I think it would help her immensely now that Johnny is more mobile and doing better for her to
Mm,
get back to going to church. She
right,
enjoys going to church and she misses it. I said, "You need to." She said, "I don't." I said, "You're going to have to trust him to be alone eventually."
right,
He keeps telling her, he's like, "I'm a grown man." He said, "I understand now. If I'm dizzy, sit down no matter where I'm at to sit down so I won't fall."
right,
And I was just like, I said, "You need to listen." I said, "Because the more you hover over him," I said, "the longer it's going to take him to get back on his feet."
right. Thank you, Vicky. And I have, let's see, out of all my grandchildren, let's see, Kendrick is saved. Kira says she is. Don't know, but she says she is. Caleb says he is, and I don't know. They neither one of them have been baptized. They both said they're saved. I can only take them at their word. It's not up to me. It's up to God anyway. They said she was, but then she is now thinking she's a transgender. So I just pray for her like no other. She's Hudson's oldest or Hudson's sister, but she calls herself a boy. I can't do it. I won't do it. She's a girl. I was there when I was in the operating room when she was born. She's a girl. Um, but I still love her. Not going to talk bad to her or about her or anything. And then Hudson is this close to becoming a Christian. He last year he said, "No, I'm not a Christian." This year he just looked at me and he wouldn't give me an answer. But he goes to VBS every summer with us, and he reads his Bible every day. That's okay, Diane.
He may eventually make up his mind like Andrew did. I mean, everybody said that in order for Andrew to have a relationship with God, I had to take him to church, and I refused to do it because I'm not going to be a hypocrite. And
Right,
I wasn't going to force him into something he wasn't ready for. The very first time he asked me if he could go to church, I took him to church. I said, "I will drop you off and I will pick you up." I
right,
said, "Are you okay with that?" And then he got in, one of his friends' family told me, they said, "You know what? We'll just start picking him up and bringing him with us." And I said, "I would appreciate that." And
yes,
we had
Diane.
long conversations about that.
Yeah, yes, Diane. He is a cutie pie, and his brother Keegan. It's another little bit of a harder story. I said a little bit. His mom is was on psych meds when she had him, and he has got some developmental
Delays.
problems mentally. He's Hudson is younger, and Hudson should be following Keegan, and it's not that way. Keegan follows Hudson, um, so he's
He's got a
developmentally.
good example to follow.
Huh?
He's got a good example to follow because Hudson's an awesome kid.
Exactly, exactly. So that's that situation. My other uh, daughter, her two kids, Joey and Jackson. Joey's saved. Jackson isn't yet, but he's barely turned 8, and he's going to church, but he hasn't been saved yet. But I think that will just probably be a matter of time. Yeah,
Well, I was
Hudson isn't.
baptized, but I was not. I was not baptized because I wanted to be baptized. I was baptized because I was forced to be baptized.
Yeah,
I don't
you know
know if
what?
that actually
Baptism
counts,
doesn't have anything to do with being saved anyway.
and I don't know if that counts. In my family, that's what it was all about. You
Nope,
had to be baptized in order to be saved,
nope,
and I
that's
was
not true.
so afraid of water, and they're dunkers.
Yeah, no, no,
And
no.
bond lender. And I was
Um,
so terrified of water. I begged them and said, please. I was literally traumatized by being forced to be baptized.
this is the thing with a lot of people don't understand. Baptism. Okay, so being saved is between you and God. Being baptized is only an outward showing of what God has done in your life. So you don't have to be baptized. It's so a lot of people don't. That doesn't save you. Now, the church that I'm from, that I was in, um, tells you you have to be baptized, but it's a fake church anyway, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, when you become a Christian, it is between you and God. It has nothing to do with the
I,
baptism.
I was just, I think that's what started my
Yes, Diane.
spiral of not wanting a religion,
Uh
was being
huh.
forced into that. Uh, It's like we have discussed. I do believe there's a higher power. I just don't choose to give it a name. That's me. That is my right as a human to make that decision. It's not my decision,
Right.
my right to force it on anybody else. Is how I feel. And Connie, whom I love, because she totally accepts me just the way I am, and
Yep.
I listen to her talk about God. I do not make disparaging comments.
Right.
I have a friend who is the same way, and she's like, I'm not giving up on you.
Nope. I'm not giving up on you, but I'm
And
not going
I
to
was just
preach to
like,
you
that's
either.
your right, but I said I will fight you every step of the way. But honestly, being forced into a religion, in my opinion, is what turns people away from the church. And the churches here, I'm not saying anybody else's churches, the churches that I have been around and in growing up, and as a teenager, and my oldest son attended several different churches trying to find the right church, the right fit for him. Here, it's all about the money. They're not there to worship God. They're there to worship the mighty dollar. It's who has the best
That's
house,
sad.
the best car, who wears the nicest clothes. That's not why you go to church.
Right. Now, you guys. Okay, so on Tuesday night, Diane, you were in my premiere on Sunday night. I mean, two of my very good friends from church came in, Burgess and Chandel, and Burgess is an artist too. I mean, that's how we became such good friends. Is he's an artist as well. Do you guys or Annie? Do you remember that wood thing that I made back in April or March? That
Yes.
that was theirs.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so they were okay. They went to school together. He has a twin sister, and his twin sister is Chandel's best friend. And He always loved Shandell, but he was really small. He was tiny. He's still not a very big man. I think she's taller than him or the same height. He's a really short guy, and he just loved her, and she loved him, but they didn't never tell each other. And he never asked her out because he's like, she's never gonna go with me because um, I'm so little, right? So they graduated high school, and she stayed best friends with his twin sister. But um, Burgess went off and lived his life. A couple of years ago, she something, of course, God told her to uh, contact Burgess, and they started talking, and he decided to move back to Kansas a couple of years ago, and they started dating, and then they got married. So they've loved each other as long as they can remember. It's a really awesome relationship to to watch.
That's Renee and Johnny. I
Yeah,
love to watch the two of them together. They're completely devoted to each other.
right,
And I really, honestly, I wish she could have had that all those years she was in that terrible marriage. But, I also told her out of that terrible marriage, she got a fantastic son.
right,
And she was like, and you think that's worth it? And I said, it's always worth it for the kids.
right. Yes, Diane, I agree with you on that. Yeah, yeah, Janice. It's just and he's so. I mean, he's so attentive to her, and he just. It's almost watching. It's like it's a love story. It's really cool
Good
to
job.
watch.
Good night. I'll see you in the morning.
Bye, Anthony. Good
So,
night.
you say night? No? No, you just put a pillow over his head. Sorry.
That's okay. Sometimes he talks to me. Sometimes he doesn't.
He has not, yeah, yesterday, he was a complete chatterbox. He did not stop all day yesterday. He was even talking in his sleep last night.
Wow.
Today, he hasn't hardly said a word.
Hmm. Yep. Oh
Uh,
well.
and especially with me, my personality is I am very, very stubborn. And if you tell me that I have to do something, I will go so far in the other direction there won't even be a wisp of a chance of a shadow between the two. I'm
Right.
always been that way. And when I turned 18 and I refused to continue going to church, there was bad fights. I mean, because I stayed at home until I was 23 because my parents couldn't afford to live on their own. So basically, I worked. They literally took my check out of my hand, took it to the bank, and deposited it in their account. So I would, even though I was working, I had no money until I was just like, I quit my job, and my dad was like, oh, well, you can't quit. And I was like, too late, I already did. And well, what you going to do now? I said, I'm leaving. And I literally left home with my clothes in a garbage bag and a quarter in my back pocket. That's all I had.
Yep.
And now I have a car, I have a house, I have a great family, friends I love,
Diane.
you know.
Yeah. She goes. It makes me believe in love again. Nope.
Oh no, I told Bill anything ever happens to Bill, that'll be it. Oh no, there's nobody out there that can compare to him, and
Oh, I agree.
it would not be fair to start a relationship with somebody that I know that I can't love as much as I love him.
If if anything, or Ron says he's gonna die before me, and if he really does, that's it. That's him. There's no others.
And everybody's like, well, you'd have to live alone for the rest of your life, and I was like,
I'm okay with that.
yeah, I don't have. Do you know me? I could. Me and my sister are so she has to be around people. I love to be alone. I
I
enjoy I enjoy my own company.
I love being alone, but if I need somebody, I always reach out, but I don't need to have them with me all the time. I thoroughly. Ron will say, "What are you doing downstairs?" I said, I'm crocheting or I'm sewing." He goes, "Aren't you lonely?" I'm like, "No, I got my sewing machine." and he
My
goes,
hands are busy. I'm good.
"Do you have the TV on?" I said, "Sometimes." He goes, "Are you listening to music?" I'm like, "Sometimes." He goes, "Then what do you do?" I'm sewing. I'm enjoying myself.
You know, my sister, immediately upon her divorce, even though her husband was the worst kind of human being, and we'll just leave it at that, she was immediately lonely. Night, Vicky. You sleep well. Oh, Connie, yeah, we're over 50, almost 15 minutes.
Oh yeah, we gotta
I
get off of here.
That's what time it was.
Yes, Vicky, you sleep good and soundly, have a good night's sleep and see you soon. And I'm going to get off of here because I'm normally off of here by now. And I'm going to jump back over to Ivy and Jins if they're still on. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. I'm actually still in there. But I can't hear them because I turned off the sound. But yes, Diane, you have a great night, Vicky. And if I think that's all that's still in here. I don't know if Janice is still here or if Robin is still here. But you guys all have a great night and see you on Thursday. I'm going to be painting Mateo's painting on Thursday night for his winning of guessing my
Excuse me.
costume. So thank you, Annie, for being here.
Are
You
you
guys,
well?
good night.
Night,
Bye,
everybody.
everyone.